How to know if you're emotionally ready for a relationship? First of all, the fact that you're even watching these kind of videos is a positive indication that you're on the right track. You're putting the work on yourself. You're going through your healing process correctly because you want to know you're eager to learn. So that's a very, very positive indication that you're on the right track. In today's session, we're going to cover some stuff in order for you to know if what you're doing is correct and if you're really ready. First of all, you need to be ready to date and then you're ready for a relationship because there are steps. But we're going to cover all that good stuff. I'm Coach Goldman, your relationship and breakup coach. And being emotionally ready for a relationship isn't about perfection. It's about self-awareness, emotional maturity, and the ability to connect without losing yourself. This is the most important thing. To be emotionally ready, you need to know that you are okay with or without a partner. And paradoxically, the prerequisite to actually be in a relationship, in a healthy relationship, is learning how to be alone. And you cannot, I always say that you cannot be in a relationship if you cannot be alone. If you don't love being with yourself, you will always be needy in a relationship because you need this other person to validate you. You will need this other person to just for everything. And if this is why you're getting into a relationship, you're not emotionally ready. If you need something, you're not ready. A healthy relationship is when you're going into the relationship to give, to give more than you actually take, because your cup is overflowing and you want to give it and gift it to your partner. Because when this is where you're coming from, you will attract an equal. And I can tell you this from personal experience. I attracted the most amazing woman in the world, and she done all of this work on herself to be vibrationally on the same frequency as I am. And when I got to this frequency and she was on the frequency, this is where we met. We came into the relationship to give to each other and not to take from each other, to enrich each other's lives instead of just taking. Many people just take and they come into a relationship or out of a need, they become needy, and the relationship immediately becomes unhealthy. Immediately. So just check yourself and ask yourself, why am I getting into a relationship? Because to fill a void, an emotional need, or is it really because I worked on myself and I want to gift myself to my partner? Now, the first thing is a common misconception about being ready to get into a relationship. You still have feelings for your ex. Many people think that you should be completely over your ex in order for you to get into a new relationship. And that's simply not the truth. I talked about it a lot in my videos and I say you need to be 80% healed by yourself, 50% you're going to heal in the relationship, and 5% you're just going to stay fucked. This is just what it is. Now, you still will have feelings for your ex because romantic feelings don't die until they're being actually replaced. This is why many people think that getting into a rebound relationship is good or monkey branch is good. No, 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 no. This is the unhealthy way to do that. It's the way that they try to spiritual bypass the grief process, which is not, this is not healthy. You need to process your feelings enough, and when you get into a new relationship, there will be lingering emotions. This is just what it is. And I wrote it down that it's a very common misconception that you need to have no feelings to your ex at all in order for you to be in a new relationship, but simply not the truth. You will not get there. This is why people like, oh, I'm not emotionally ready yet because I still think about my ex sometimes. It's, of course, you cannot stop until you form a new relationship. You can be healed enough, but you will need a new relationship. This is the 15% that I'm talking about. Now, when you get into a new relationship, you will still have lingering emotions towards your ex. It's normal between 3 to 6 months, depending on the way your nervous system reacted to the breakup when you and your ex broke up. If it was toxic relationship, it might take a little bit longer. If they monkey bench or narcissist or just emotionally abusive, it might take a little bit more time. Now, you don't carry bitterness or blame into something new. This is something that is very, very important. But I also want you to understand that the lingering emotions It's okay. You let them fade as you build new love. That is what it is. It's not a rebound. You take the time, and I'm going to cover that. You took the time to sit with your emotions, to think, you did the work. And then when you met someone new, you will feel like, oh, I still have a little bit of feelings. Normal. It's okay. All right. The next one, you know who you are, what you want, and more importantly, what you don't want. You've taken time to understand your identity, values, and what you're looking for. You don't need a relationship, you simply desire a healthy connection. You worked on yourself so much, and you got to a point that you have so much to give. You don't want to get into a new relationship just to take, but also to give. Like I said, if you don't need a relationship, you're already 80% ready. Okay? If you don't want or need a relationship, you're 80% ready. Going to repeat it just one more time for the sake of emphasis. If you don't want or need a relationship, this is the 80%. This is an indication of the 80% that you already said, I don't need it. I don't want it. But hey, it will cool if I have it. That's a positive indication. Now, you're not using a relationship to fill a void. You feel whole on your own. You're not seeking partner to fix you, distract you, or rescue you from loneliness. This is why people go into rebound relationships or monkey branching, cheating, because they need to fill an emotional void that they cannot handle by themselves. And if they cannot handle it by themselves, that's not good. Because if you go again to a relationship just to fill a void, this person, you become dependent on this person, and this is how actually people create codependent relationships. You're dependent on your partner, and then it's just not healthy. You need to be your own person, and you become your own person in the healing process. It's a self-love process. In the repair process after the breakup, you find peace with being alone. You find peace with the little things in life, and you say to yourself, a partner is I don't need a partner to feel this void. I don't need a partner. I don't need anyone to make me feel good. Yes, it will be amazing to have a partner to share life with, but it's not a necessity. That's the difference. It's not a necessity. Number three here, it's you can speak openly and honestly. Communication comes naturally. You don't just say, I'm fine when something is off. You express yourself, listen actively, and create space for connection. And that's an indication that you did the work on yourself and you're receptive. You say, I am receptive to what my partner or potential partner have to say. I'm open. Many people that are not emotionally ready, they just don't communicate, and they say, no, I'm fine. It's like they say I'm fine because they feel that they will be dismissed. So they just completely let it go. They don't even try. And when you have this passive aggressive attitude in a relationship, it's not going to work. And this is why, if this is you, you're not emotionally ready for a relationship. So you will need to take more time until when something happens, you don't just say, I'm fine. You express yourself and you say, no, this is not okay, or this is okay. And you open for communication. You're comfortable being vulnerable. You're not afraid to open up, show emotions, or let someone truly see you. This emotional honesty builds deep connection, deep intimacy. You're open for that. You're open to be vulnerable. You're open to say, this is where I'm hurting. You're open to say, this is my wounds. You're open to say, I'm still working through stuff. And that's important. And your partner will be receptive to it. And if they're not the one for you. Sometimes, like I said, when you are still having emotions, and I'm going to circle back here to your ex, sometimes you need a partner that will understand that and say, okay, this happened. Let's work through it. And you will need to be receptive to your partner, because today people are not alone. People don't stay alone like a long time. Usually after a breakup, people go back to dating after 2 3 months, even less. So there will always be someone in the back. There will always be someone that just, you tying the loose ends and you're getting your final talk with your ex just to put a stamp on it. And in the earlier stages of a relationship, you will need to go through it. So I'm just preparing you for that, because even if you think that your partner also, or you emotionally ready, these lingering emotions will surface, and you need to have the emotional maturity to carry them. Because if you don't have the emotional maturity to carry them, it's done. It's done, and then you're just gonna move on to another relationship, and it's probably gonna happen again. So take the time to understand that. You maintain healthy independence. This is the next one. You secure on your own, and you don't need someone to complete you. You need someone to complement you. You need someone that carries the mission with you. But you're also excited to share your life with someone who's aligned with your values. You want it, but you maintain healthy independence, meaning at the earlier stages, you have your own spot, you have your own place, you have your own life, you have your own thing going on. Again, I'm saying it because it's at the beginning. You need to have this healthy independence at the beginning. As the relationship grows and you move in together and you establish this divine connection, even getting married, there still needs to be a healthy independence. But I would say that in the divine union, there is connection, and you don't need to be afraid from attachment. Many people say that the root of all suffering is attachment, and when you are attached to your ex, like they own you or some kind of stuff. But no, in a healthy relationship, you do need to have attachment. You do need to have this bond. You do need to have independence, but it's not like that. When you're building the relationship, yes, healthy independence is great because you still get to know them, and that's amazing. In a relationship, I would say that you need to have less independence and more togetherness and more transparency, because you're building life with a person. This is not just you building your life and say, I'm just doing me. If you're just doing you, just be single. But if you want a healthy relationship, you need to build with your partner. It's a must, because sometimes the relationship will not sometimes the relationship will not just be about you, about your own benefit and what you're getting out of the relationship. It's about how the relationship serves God, how the relationship serves the mission that you both are on this earth, that you've been given by God. So you need to say to yourself, it's just not me. It's not just me. It's us. You don't say I anymore. You say we. And this is different. Last but not least, you take accountability. You reflect on your patterns, own your mistakes, and use relationships as a mirror for growth, not a tool for blame. You see yourself, you take accountability for everything that you did or do. This is very important. And you say to yourself, I am responsible for everything. And my thing, I say it all I say it all the time. Everything is my responsibility, not my fault. Even when my ex cheated on me, I said, yep, that was my responsibility. I accepted unacceptable behavior, my responsibility, my accountability. When you have this radical, massive self accountability and responsibility, you know that you are the master of your life. Even when it's raining outside, if I didn't take an umbrella, I said to myself, that was my responsibility to check the weather and take an umbrella. I don't blame God for the rain. I will take responsibility for not being prepared for it. So accountability and responsibility in a relationship, it's the most important, crucial part, because a partner who knows how to take responsibility and accountability can grow and say, oh, that was my bad. Let me see how I can grow. If you have a partner that does not know how to take accountability and responsibility, you run like hell. But for you to have a partner that takes full responsibility and accountability, you need to have that. So you start cultivating that. How you cultivate that? That's a good question. You do it by reflecting on everything that happened in your past relationship, and you say, where did I contribute to this thing happening? What can I do to make sure this doesn't happen again? You own your part wholeheartedly and fully. You don't blame them for anything. You don't even see what they've done. You see what happened and you ask yourself, what was my role? What was the role that I played in this scenario, in this relationship? When you do that, you're the master. You're strong, you're grounded, and you feel a sense of empowerment because you say, my power, I didn't give it away. I don't give it away. And that shows emotional strength and emotional availability and a very high level of emotional capability and capacity to hold a relationship because you know how to hold yourself. So you guys, thank you so much for watching. If you need help with any of that, strengthening your relationships, being ready and prepared for a new relationship by first of all building a relationship with yourself, hit me up. The link in the description below to book a call with me, and I will walk you through it and guide you through this process. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you again in the next one.